Hello everyone, I'm Ben Heckscher. Welcome to the DP History program at ISE. The International Baccalaureate Diploma Program in History consists of a vast collection of thematic subjects to be adapted to any given time period and region in the world. Students can follow either a standard level, SL, or a higher level, HL course. The standard level course involves 150 hours of instruction over the 2 years, and it culminates in 2 separate exams. The so-called Paper 1 essentially consists of the comparative analysis of primary documents. Paper 2 involves 2 longer-form comparative essays. The higher level adds a further 90 hours of instruction, diving deeper into related themes, and it includes a Paper 3, which requires writing 3 analytical essays. Finally, every student completes a historical investigation of their choosing, which requires the selection and analysis of relevant sources, original argumentation on the subject, and a reflection on the historiographical process. ISE's history program combines our selected themes into a comprehensive study of Europe and large parts of Asia in what might be termed the long 20th century, a period lasting from the late 1800s to the turn of the millennium. In order to cover all the material in an organic way, we proceed chronologically, and our schedule will include HL-only classes sprinkled throughout the year for that material. The first semester of DP1 establishes the great ideological struggles of the 20th century, looking first at capitalism in practice and then at the communist and fascist responses to those dynamics. From there, we will compare and contrast the authoritarian regimes of Stalin, Mussolini, and Hitler, including the conditions of their emergence, and both their domestic and foreign policies. The HL portion of this first semester consists of a deeper dive into the establishment of Soviet communism, beginning with the Tsarist reforms of the late 19th century and ending with the consolidation of Stalin's power in the Soviet Union's Great Terror. The second semester begins with a pivot to East Asia, where we will begin with the emergence of a newly unified and uncommonly militaristic Japan and its expansionism around the turn of the century. The focus of this unit is on Japan's aggression against China in the 1930s, which introduces China itself, which will play a recurring role in the rest of the program. Having traced the eruption of conflict in East Asia and the failure of the West to counter it, we will turn back to Europe and observe the analogous dynamics of fascist expansionism and the outbreak of World War II. The HL material for this period consists of a deep dive into Francoism in the Spanish Civil War and a shorter case study in the expansion of Soviet espionage in the context of combating fascism. DP1 closes out with the Second World War, the culmination of all the dynamics we studied over the course of the year. The DP2 program consists largely of the Cold War. Aside from the usual survey of what might be termed US and Soviet leadership in the conflict, beginning immediately after World War II, we will also examine the impact of the Cold War in East Asia. China is a particularly interesting case here, where a staunchly communist country eventually opted to align closer to the West. We will trace that trajectory, and we will also zoom in on Vietnam as a case study in the effects of the Cold War on a specific nation. The second semester of DP2 is truncated somewhat by the revision period in the IB exams, and it will consist of the final collapse of the Soviet Union, starting with the Afghan War, and it'll assess the role of various political actors, notably Mikhail Gorbachev and Ronald Reagan. The HL material in DP2 is comparatively denser. It includes a close look at the leadership of the Soviet Union, the immediate post-war period in Western Europe, case studies in the UK and West Germany during the Cold War, and a look at Spain's transition to democracy after Franco. As the Cold War wraps up, we conclude the year with a look at the immediate post-Soviet period in Russia. That's the program in a nutshell. If you have any other questions, don't hesitate to ask. You can reach me at benjaminh@isc.edu.ee. Thank you.